There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Ooh, what's up, and welcome into episode number 54 of the Program Guys podcast. My name is Mason Prince, joined with you as always by Ryan Tyson, Mark Hall, Matt Gann, Patrick Kurtzberger. Today is Thursday, January 19th. Be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We hit 1,400 subs. Let's try to hit 1,500 this week. It costs you literally $0 to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Helps us out more than you know. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, our Instagram, Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page, Program Guys Podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, that's where you can find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of that good stuff. Gentlemen, how we're doing? All five of the boys back this week after a Ryan Tyson hiatus. How we living?
We're doing okay, baby.
Love it. Ryan's the first, baby. I love it.
Back
at it.
We're all waiting.
Back at it.
Back at it again.
I'm back at it again.
Yeah. Matt, how you doing, man?
Feeling great. Another week, another dollar, baby.
Perfect.
You
Great.
need to negotiate your salary, champ.
I don't have the same
Another
skills as you,
week.
Mark. I wish.
Another week, another dollar.
Another week, another dollar. That's perfect.
Mason, how are you? We never asked
Mason,
you how
we never
you're
asked
doing.
you. Oh, great,
You always
man.
ask us.
Great. You know, had a weekend trip in Atlanta. Atlanta was great and enjoyed it. Back home in the Sooner State. And yeah, this is my last podcast on my old computer. I get a new computer tomorrow. So
wow.
Sentence started scary.
I know. Yeah, sorry.
That was
No,
a
yeah.
weird sentence. I don't
Yeah,
know why.
sorry.
but
I know it
concerned
was a
me.
weird sentence, but it's okay. It's okay. How's everybody else doing? Pat, Matt?
All good.
No, Pat, Mark.
Living, man. This is a good part of the day. A lot of work. Otherwise, it's just the grind, you know.
It's super weird. We'll talk about the NFL later. The Dolphins are dead. The Vikings are dead.
Yep.
My football season is over, and I have so much time. I have so much time that I don't devote to reading about the Dolphins matchup, listening to Dolphins podcasts, listening to OU podcasts, reading about OU's matchup, all of that stuff. I have way more time in my day, and I don't like it, but that's where we are.
Bro, you need a hobby.
I had a similar feeling a few weeks ago. When I was like, none of my teams are in anymore.
Which is
Like,
weird because
I'm
you
just-
have a lot.
You have so many teams.
You do have
Right, I
some
have a
teams.
lot of teams too, so it's a bit more difficult for me. But none of them were in; they're all bad.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting here like,
Ravens.
it's nice to just watch football today, or maybe even not watch all of the football today, but still watch all the football and not really care what happens in the game.
Yeah.
Nah,
Just
you guys
wanting a
need
good
to be
game.
wagering more on football. That's what I would say.
Not after my week last week. I don't. No, I don't.
I had an idea since all of our teams are out, and I didn't
Mhm.
put it in the outline because I didn't think we should
Okay.
really do it. But all of us drafting playoff teams left to just jump on the bandwagon and be really shitty about for the
I
next
would love that.
3 or 4 weeks or something.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
this is the only week we could do it because we'll be down to 4 teams next week. So
Yeah.
True.
you know, I don't know, maybe, but
Okay. So
obviously I didn't put it all
Let's
together.
think about
so-
it. Let's
Yeah.
think about it and talk about it later in the NFL segment.
Yeah, during
Yeah.
the NFL segment, that works.
I like it. Good idea. So
Great.
let's talk some OU shop. Man, I'm burping in the mic. I'm sorry, y'all. Cut that out, Mason. Some
No,
OU
leave it in, Mason.
some OU football news. We got some transfer portal news. Is the transfer portal officially closed on Thursday? Is that when we're done with movement?
So Wednesday, or maybe it is Thursday. It's the last day, and shout out to the unofficial 40 because that's where I heard this.
Okay.
It's the last day that they can go to their compliance officers and initiate the process. So that then takes however long it takes. Every school is going to be different because these are people, but Thursday is kind of the kids' deadline.
Gotcha.
Like
So-
put in like that paperwork and stuff like that.
Right. To at least
Got it,
start
okay.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's what is weird to me. We still have guys going to the transfer portal right now because they cannot move out in the next 45 days. Or they can't move out until the spring window.
Yeah. Well, no, they can. I think you can transfer. You can't enter your name. Like I
Got
think
it.
you're.
Yeah,
Gosh.
I-
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
yeah.
Oh, you're not. I thought you were thinking for like school purposes, Patrick.
No,
and I
no,
was
no,
like,
no.
Hey,
We're not
they don't go
talking
to play
school.
school, baby.
No.
They
Yeah,
don't
I'm
go
not here to play.
school.
Not here to play school. So we'll talk some transfer portal news. A big flip for the Sooners last week, right after we got off the air. It was Walter Rouse. He was a guy who's committed to Nebraska from Stanford and then flipped his commitment to the Oklahoma Sooners. He's an offensive tackle, I believe.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Left
And
tackle.
he's good looking. He's a good looking offensive lineman. Bill Bedenbaugh is going to have a lot of fun with him. I would be shocked if he's not starting next year at one of the tackles for Oklahoma. How big is that? Is that flip for you guys? Mark, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Oh, it's huge. Just having a proven guy that we can turn to. I mean, we don't know what Jacob Sexton,
Yeah.
dude, too many J's.
I know.
We don't know what Jacob Sexton's going to look like post injury. We don't know when we'll have him back. Tyler Guyton has played both the left and the right tackle positions, and Rouse comes over as a left tackle, but I'm sure that Bedenbaugh is going to flip that around, make him play with it a little bit. The interesting, I think, thing here is the ripple effects that this has, because obviously he comes in and slides into one of those starting positions, but then suddenly you have a lot more flexibility with like a Caden Green, for example. You know, you come in and maybe eventually he's a tackle, but if he's ready to rock, throw him in at right guard in that Chris Murray spot, and suddenly you've got a big sized offensive line that's ready to play some physical football.
I can agree
Walter
with that
Rouse
as well.
comes in the most experienced guy and the most accomplished guy left in the room now that Anton Harrison and Wanya Morris have left.
For sure. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, especially with Harrison leaving for the draft, we need someone who can anchor down the offensive line, because the rest of the offensive line, like Mark said, is really up for grabs. It's probably the one position group that I don't really feel good about, even after the transfer portal and the recruits that we're getting. We just don't have a lot of experience and depth, like Mark mentioned too. So it'll be really interesting to see what Bill Bedenbaugh does with the guys coming in. But this could have an anchor, have one of the left or right tackles taken care of. So big deal for sure, especially flipping a recruit from Matt Rule, who's now the new head coach at Nebraska. So good to see the staff can still get in there and convince guys to come here, play here instead of elsewhere.
Ryan and
point,
Pat,
Matt.
I'll let you guys jump in real quick. But Blake Smith is another guy who's coming in from the transfer portal. He's a tight end transfer from Texas A&M, 6'4", 250, big body, trying to replace Braden Willis. I really like that pickup. But anything on those two guys, Ryan and Pat?
I think the guys covered the Rouse. I think it's a huge pickup, especially with just like him committing to Nebraska and us just not giving up. So this is the second time that's happened recently with Bowen. So I mean, like these our coaching staff are not giving up these recruits easily. Like even after that they've committed somewhere else, they're still going after them. So I like that. I like that drive and that kind of like never give up attitude. So yeah, both big gets. I think I thought I read Blake Smith would probably come on as a preferred walk on, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But good pick from A&M.
Yeah, Blake Smith has had not a great time at A&M. I think they had like 4 tight ends the last year, and he was like the 4th string. So even with their injuries, he didn't get a lot of playing time. But he's coming back, or he's coming to OU probably because of Joe John Finley, who was his coach while he was at A&M, and that's why he's coming to OU. So if anyone's gonna like resurrect him and make him be the best he can be, it's probably Joe John Finley.
Echoing the point about Walter Rouse and Ryan's point about winning those recruiting battles, that's massive. It's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to bully schools like Nebraska and Notre Dame and Oregon and other schools that aren't in the SEC, because you're already fighting for SEC caliber players. If there are guys who are outside of the SEC realm, you're going to have to bully those other conferences and say, look, we're a school in the SEC. You want to come here and we're interested in you. And I'm very curious to know what the pitch was that Brent and Bill probably gave Walter Rouse, because it had to be, pun intended, a rousing pitch.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
I would love to hear that. But it's a great pickup. I mean, I agree with Mark. It'd be awesome to see him at either tackle. And if that means that we can get some young blood in there and learning from Walter very early, not a bad thing at all. Not a bad thing at all. Yeah, Mark.
Two more, just one on Walter Rouse. Matt made a really great point about winning that battle against Matt Rule specifically.
Yeah.
I know Nebraska's Nebraska. I get it, but that dude can coach and that dude can recruit. So big win for the staff. Great point, Matt. Blake Smith he missed his entire freshman 2020 season with a knee injury, played in one game in 21. We have no idea what this guy looks like, but I know that Joe John Finley saw some potential in him, brought him on to A&M, and he seems like a great reclamation project, especially if he's a preferred walk-on, like Ryan said.
For sure. So two guys going out, two guys coming in, two guys going out is what I should say. Bray Walker, Marcus Alexander are gone. They have entered I guess you can't say they're gone. They're in the transfer portal. I guess they can always take their name out, but those guys will likely try to find other homes. We kind of text about this in our group chat, and it's not really good to talk about your texts or whatever.
Come on,
we're on the
Mason.
air, but like we have this thing that we keep saying, and it's just churn is good, like good churn, and this is kind of what that feels like. It just didn't ever work out for Bray Walker, a five-star prospect that just didn't really develop. By the way, another example of Lincoln Riley and that staff just not developing any sort of talent at all. They just get there and they're the same player from when they start. I have a problem. I have a huge problem with that, but good churn. That's just what I have to say.
Good turn. Wish it wasn't happening on the offensive line as much, just because I like having more bodies there. But
For sure.
Bray Walker hasn't hit the field, and Marcus Alexander hasn't hit the field, and he's been here for 3-4 years also. It's churn.
Anybody else?
I mean, again, I think we expect churn at this point. We're going through a regime change, I feel like even more this year than before, just because it's, this is actually the time that they can set up for like their success and like the way they want to move forward. And some people just don't want to be a part of that or feel like that they can have better opportunity elsewhere. And that's totally fine. Like that's their decision. But yeah, I mean, I wish it wasn't happening on the offensive line. That's the one position that I'm minorly worried about going in the next year, just around like number of bodies and talent that we have. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's a changing of the guard, and we've said that the last couple of months.
Yeah, I can. It matter, Pat. So my
I
thing
want
with
to see the roster next year compared to last year, compared to the year before. See how many Lincoln guys are left over next year, because it's going to be down to like double digits.
It's not very many.
Well, sorry, I guess it was
Single.
already double digits, but
I get
we'll
you
have
guys
10 or 11.
I get you guys' point about the offensive line and being worried about the depth, and they're probably a big question mark heading into 2023. But I feel like that is a position group that when they start are never good enough. By game like 3 or 4, they start to figure it out. So yeah, the depth is probably going to be an issue, but that starting 5 that start in that first game in September, not going to be the same 5 that in the season that were the best 5 that they had. I genuinely think that, because that's the way it always is. And I don't know. That's just the way I feel about it. Okay. We can move on.
Now, hold on. Who's playing center?
Yeah, I was about to say we need a center. Like
that's the whole interior. No one was impressed with McCade Matauer last year.
No.
Chris Murray's gone. Andrew Rame got hurt. Who's playing center? Who's playing right guard? Those are questions there are no answers to right now. Offensive line is more than a minor concern. It is a major question mark, and maybe there are answers to that question, but we don't need to dance around this, guys.
Like the thought is Rame is coming back, right? We don't know that for
sure.
I mean, but
yeah,
we don't know how severe that injury is. We don't know, like we know it's severe, but we don't know how severe he's going to be ready to go next year. I don't know. They'll figure it out. I trust Bill on that.
Is Condrel back?
I have no idea.
I think he
think he's gone.
I think he's gone.
So in the running back room, Jaden Knowles he announced his retirement from football. Matt, say something nice about Jaden Knowles.
Really nice guy. It's really good weather reports. I'll tell you that. That's why
He
they call him
does.
the weatherman.
He
Sad to see
does.
him go. Just
Shout
didn't work out.
out to OU Knightley, great student broadcast there in Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication. You'll be missed, Jaden. Think you got some little burn on some blowouts. So shout out to
Light burn, mostly during the Lincoln time.
him for sure.
He's a character. I really like him. Nice
Yeah.
guy.
As for the team as it stands right now, move-in day was this past weekend, I should say, this past weekend for the 2023 recruiting class. Jackson Arnold, PJ Adebawore, Peyton Bowen, Joshua Bates, Caden Green, Caleb Hicks, Derek LeBlanc, Eric McCarty, Phil Pachotti, Dalen Smothers, Keon Brown, Makari Vickers, Josiah Wagner, Ashton Sanders, all in Norman, living in Headington Hall. I believe they're all in Headington.
They will be. They will flout the rules, but normal students will not be able to.
Little inside baseball for the people. Mark was the first year in Headington Hall, and he was the only one of us who lived in Headington.
Yep.
He had some experiences, I
And
guess.
professional douchebag Trevor Knight was able to take his girlfriend back every night to stay with him. And they took IDs from anyone who wanted to come hang out with me. Guy or girl.
Wow.
didn't matter.
Yeah.
And like they came to your room and like got your person at midnight, no matter what.
Dude.
But not
That is
Trevor
just
Knight.
crazy.
But not Trevor Knight.
Person.
Yeah.
You didn't have a curfew though, did you?
No, I mean I could come in and I could come and go as I pleased alone.
So
And
let's-
when you're 18, that's tough.
So of those guys that I just rambled off, I thought it'd be fun somebody thought it'd be fun, not me. I don't want to take credit for this idea. Who makes the greatest impact? Mark, thank you. Who is going to make the greatest impact during their spring? So from now until the spring game, who of that group are we going to see grow the most? That is my question I posed to you. Matt, I will start with you.
Yeah, I'll just take it off the list because I think he's going to be a pretty common guy we all talk about. I think it's going to be PJ. I think he's probably the most ready out of all the guys hitting the field. I think with Jackson Arnold, I think he's going to take a step back, let DG take the reins and learn from him. I think PJ is probably the most ready guy coming in the recruiting class who can step on day one and make a huge impact. And I think with Smitty, with with Todd Bates, Miguel Chavis, all those guys getting an off season, I'm really glad they're coming in early. So I think PJ, he's just got raw speed, strength, everything that you can ask for. And that's exactly what BV is looking for in the trenches. So I think he's only going to improve over the spring here and then make an immediate impact on day one. So I'm going to go PJ.
Good point, Matt. I will go with one of the, you can pick. I'm going to take both the offensive linemen, but you can pick either one of them. Caden Green, Joshua Bates. I say both. They're two of them. So Caden Green or Joshua Bates. I think both of those guys, like we just talked about, there's a lot of question marks on the offensive line. Can those guys show enough for Bill Bedenbaugh and this staff to say, you know what? They may not be ready, but we need them. And we feel comfortable enough for them to step up and be in one of those 5 roles heading into next season. I'll be interested to see how those offensive line do. I think Caden Green more than Joshua Bates would have more of the chance to do so, as we just talked about. But yeah, those are my 2 guys.
I think you guys nailed it. That was going to be my 1, 2, and 3 as well. So there we go. But I guess I have to pick anyone since you guys picked those 3. But really, those 3, like PJ will be talked about in the spring. Like he just will be. Spring practices and things like that, spring game. Like,
yeah,
I think he's going to be ready. But
let's see how much weight he puts on.
Let's see how. Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. Peyton Bowen's another guy who could maybe come in and see some time. So maybe Peyton Bowen.
It's a very good point as well.
All right, I'm going to go with 3 guys real fast. I'm going to bang through them. Derek LeBlanc, we're not talking about enough. That defensive tackle position is the interior defensive line position is pretty depleted after last year. Jacob Lacey comes in and is an experienced guy, but who else do you trust in there? I don't really know. I think Derek LeBlanc gets a shot. Phil Pachotti is not going to play defense, but he's going to kick ass on special teams. I think he's going to be on every special team, kind of like Jaron Kanik was this year, and just run that unit for us. I think he's going to be great there. And last but not least, Keon Brown. Why can't he be the big-bodied receiver that comes in and sort of takes over that X position that that they want? Because we went out and recruited 2 guys that are 6'5", 6'4" last year. We went out and got JJ Hester, who's 6'3", coming in. Why can't it be Keon Brown? I think they're all starting from the same position, 0, ground floor.
Yep.
And the kid is kind of a freak. So I don't know why it couldn't be him. He's someone that I'm going to be looking out for, especially if he can put some thickness on his frame.
That's a really good point.
Ryan?
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, you guys touched on everybody, but you missed the one. I mean, it's
The
Jackson
obvious
Arnold.
one.
It's
Okay.
Jackson Arnold.
Ooh.
He's the Gatorade Player of the Year, high school Player of the Year. He is, we might talk about the recruiting changes and stuff like that, but he's the second highest recruit in our class this year, behind PJ. And I honestly think him coming in solves a massive problem for us last year, which was that we had nobody behind Dylan. And I think just that little bit of pressure to Dylan might be a good thing. And I'm excited to see that dynamic change. And I'm excited to see the partnership between them two. And, we've seen a freshman come in and take over before. It could happen. We don't know. I think the possibility is out there. And I think that dynamic is what makes it so interesting. And that's why I think Arnold is going to be the biggest impact, like immediately. Not necessarily because he's going to be playing, but because his presence is going to be known.
Man, we're gonna break Dylan Gabriel this year. Did y'all just hear the way Ryan talked about that? Man,
Look,
the whole thing is just
and
like, hey,
we talked
maybe having
about
a freaking
this.
superstar will make the other guy scared.
Oh, I didn't say scared.
You didn't have to.
I said
The pressure.
and I think
pressure.
pressure can be good. I think
think
pressure
Dylan's
can be
very
good. It can make people better. I'm hoping that Dylan is up to that pressure and plays lights out, and we don't even have to have this conversation.
I don't
But,
know.
that's the point I'm trying to make.
I don't know if Dylan
Gabriel's he's getting
I truly don't know if Dylan Gabriel has been in a quarterback competition since he was a freshman. I generally don't.
Competition's good.
Yeah.
I don't think he has.
Yeah. So competition could be really good for Dylan. And again, like Ryan said, not saying that Jackson's going to take his job, but to have that guy in practice who is also taking reps right next to you,
Yep.
and you can't complete, I don't know, let's say a 15-yard out route, and he can. That's a
Well, and I totally agree with that. I was talking more to the fans, the
I know.
student sections.
yes.
We want Jackson.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's coming.
Well,
Like,
that
the
was gonna
first
happen no
interception
matter-
he throws. It's going to be a mess.
That was going
I
to happen
know.
no matter like what we did, right? We saw that happen in real time. And
It was
it
awesome.
might, I don't know if it's going to, I don't know if it's going to happen again, but I think this just creates an interesting dynamic immediately in that room. And that is the most important position that we have, that any football team has, is that leader. So this is going to be fascinating, I think, going into this year. And I hope that Dylan plays lights out and, he kills it, and then he hands it off to Jackson. Everything's beautiful, right? Like storybook ending. That's what I hope for.
I'm glad.
I don't know.
I'm glad you said that. I hope Dylan plays well, because there are some people who are out there right now who are legitimately thinking, I hope Dylan Gabriel sucks so we can play Jackson Arnold. Why would you want him to suck? Why would you want Dylan Gabriel to suck next year? I just don't understand it. Like,
People's fandom lead them in twisted ways sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, you put your mind in loop-de-loops to
Yeah.
get to stupid endpoints.
Yeah.
And we all do it, but
Baker Mayfield.
OU fans are bad. OU fans are bad about it.
yeah, I do anything for Baker Mayfield. Let us know down below in the comments, which of those freshmen are you most looking forward to see during the spring? How do you think they're going to grow? All of that good stuff. We read every single comment. Love to read all of your comments as well. Also, before we move on from this class, There's a quick recruiting change. The last on 3 updated rankings. I think they're consensus. Yes.
Yeah.
Consensus rankings. PJ Adebawore moves up to the 4th best player in the country. Jackson Arnold, number 6. Peyton Bowen, number 15.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Two in
Pretty-
the top 6.
Very
I'll take
happy
it.
with that.
Yeah. It's a great class, and they should be very happy about that. I don't know what Jackson Arnold has to do to be the number 1 quarterback in the country. I don't know. Maybe
He
if he
didn't go
lost
to-
his student ID twice in the first week of classes, he'd be able to move up. But
Well, he didn't go to, Pat's Volunteers. That's why he's
Well,
not
yeah.
number 1, right?
That's true.
I mean,
Right,
Pat's
current
having a
number one is
really
Nico.
Pat's having
Yeah.
a really great time right now because he's like, not only do I have number 4 and 6, but I also have number 1.
Right. Nico's going to be a baller. I'm really excited to see him play. That's for sure.
interesting.
But Jackson Arnold, you're right, Mason. I don't understand why he's not number 1. It makes no sense to me. He is the best player in high school football.
Go back and listen to me and Matt's interview with Parker Thune and listen to Parker's monologue about Jackson Arnold and about why he deserves to be the number 1 quarterback in the class. And I don't know how you can listen to that 5-minute answer he gave and be like, oh yeah, there's dudes who are better than him. I don't buy it. Mark, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, it's not that. It's just that, like, all right, we've had Jackson Arnold locked up since he was a 4-star, right? He was always going to be the quarterback of this class. What would be different if he was number 1?
Nothing.
I want guys who are number 1 picks, not number 1 high school recruits, and those guys aren't always the same thing. Only like the last one was Kyler Murray, I think.
Yeah.
I
And Mark
don't
hates
get as
Kyler
caught up
Murray.
in
Yeah.
that.
And Mark
I
hates Kyler.
love Kyler Murray. Okay, signed Kyler jersey right
That's right.
over there.
Wouldn't
right.
pay him. Wouldn't pay him.
But wouldn't pay him. No, I don't get hung up on all the recruiting like exact numbers because we got our guy.
I don't either. I just think he like deserves that. Like credit where credit's due, and it's OU just getting shafted for something else in people's rankings to piss us off.
That's fine. Matt, anything
That's
to add, Matt?
Nope.
Perfect. Well, you do have something to add because we're going to circle
Lively
those
Matt Gann
wagons.
tonight, baby.
That's
We're
right.
going to circle those wagons right now. So, people, it's time. Circle the wagons is back. Go ahead.
Jumping on in, let me get started with a sport I haven't covered, but did finish top 5. That is OU cheer, coming in at number 5 behind South Florida, Kentucky, Ohio State, and Central Florida. So congrats for the OU's women cheerleading team. Hopefully you guys can see them at football games, all the other sporting events, but coming in top 5 in the country. So congratulations to them. Moving on to some other women's sports who are doing absolutely fantastic. Got to hit on OU's women gym, coming in to Baton Rouge to play the Lady Tigers of LSU, beating them by close to about half a point. But we did have 2 girls that did set season highs. That was Jordan Bowers on the floor routine and Reagan Smith on bars. So those 2 season highs really catapulted us to victory during that. So another
Just said fault.
road win and another top 10 team that the OU's women's gym just continues to put down. They will actually now go home playing at Lloyd Noble. They'll play against number 5 Utah. So anyone that's in Norman this upcoming weekend on Sunday needs to be in Lloyd Noble this week to support the number 1 Sooners in the nation. So good luck to them this upcoming weekend. Moving on to women's basketball, beating Texas Tech 89-79. We had 5 ladies in double digits. So the great thing about what Jenny has done with this team, a lot of balanced scoring. There's not just one girl that's scoring 20, 25 plus, what you normally see. These girls are all contributing in all different ways, especially on the score sheet. So you love to see it. So beat Tech 89-79 and then followed up with another victory against Kansas 80-74. Again, had 4 ladies in double digits there. Maddie Williams, first lady Sooner to have 2,000 points, 800 rebounds, and 300 assists.
Wow.
So in the whole history,
Wow.
even if you think about the Paris sisters and some other great Sooner legends, Maddie
Name some
Williams,
others.
The Paris sisters. Come on now. They're legendary.
I just wanted to put you on the spot.
So happy.
I knew that was
Unbelievable.
I'll get that list to you for sure.
Yeah,
First
please do.
Sooner to do that, which is
Who was
obviously an
Landry
incredible
Jones'
feat.
wife? Whitney Ham?
Yes.
There
we go.
There it is.
Name
There we go.
some others.
Tyson,
Any.
that's
You're welcome again.
Thanks for putting me on the spot there. I really appreciate it. But thanks, Tyson, for backing me up there. They actually are playing, so both men and women's basketball playing tonight. The Lady Sooners are in Fort Worth, just across the metro from the Dallas guys, playing TCU. So we'll know the score of that game by this time tomorrow. And OU's men's basketball is actually playing Bedlam tonight. So big thing for the Sooners to try to get back-to-back wins, as they had a close game against West Virginia, winning 77-76. Sherfield had 22, Jalen Hill 14, and the freshman Uzon 11 points, 9 boards, 5 assists. But he also played 38 minutes, which was the most on the team for a true freshman. I talked about it in last week's pod that some of these freshmen are getting more playing time, contributing more, and Uzon is clearly fitting into the starting role and almost playing 40 points. I mean, that's almost the entire game there. During Big 12 play, Jalen Hill and Milos Uzon are combining for over 22 plus points, over 10 plus boards, and about 4 blocks a game, while each shooting 57% from the field. So you love to see, especially the Big 12 play when we're playing better and high competition. I think the Big 12's probably got to be the best conference so far, if not, competing with others. But to see these guys both step up, especially a true freshman, that is what you love to see. And again, they're playing Bedlam tonight, so hopefully we can get some back-to-back wins for them. Switching to another sport that did really well last year, national runners-up, that's OU's women's tennis. Just started last week, currently ranked number 4. Guys, pull out the broom. They did a complete sweep of their first 3 matches, beating Missouri 7-0, Tarleton State 4-0, and Wyoming 7-0. They will go play some Big Ten competition in OSU and Michigan before starting some tourney play. So love to see a lot of success across the board. Again, we always talk about OU football being successful, but there's plenty of other sports around the OU community that are just doing fine, and you love to see it. That is Circle the Wagons.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it.
Quick question. When does softball start? Because
2 weeks.
I think it's
so excited.
Yeah, it's about 20 days. I think that's all, 23 days. So it'll be upcoming soon.
February 9th.
We are preseason ranked number 1. That's
We
not
are.
a surprise.
That's right.
to anybody. Again.
Another sport.
That's
I
true.
thought you were about to go on a little.
Softball is a good sport.
I thought you were about to go on a little.
I'm flustered after what you got me into, Mason. I'm going to have to do some
brother.
more research and analytics. Here we go. Back to you, Mason.
All right, appreciate that, Matt. Let's talk some NFL news, boys. The NFL playoffs are into the divisional round. Super Wildcard weekend is a wrap. As for the boys, we made our picks last week. If you are an original fan of the pod, you will remember at this point last year, we did a little competition, and whoever lost had to do, what did we have to do for that one?
Spray tan.
Spray tan. Patrick got a spray tan.
Awesome.
Because
That was my favorite
he lost our picks. And we're picking against the spread. We're not picking winners and losers, picking against the spread, people. So as it stands right now,
We're grown-ups.
Mark as a great week, 4-2 on the weekend. Patrick at 2-4, Ryan at 2-4, me and Matt an abysmal 1-5.
Oof.
So we got some work to do. So before we talk about this week's games, the divisional round, we wanted to try to brainstorm a little punishment, and we'll have that punishment next week for you guys. So comment down below if you have a punishment you think would be funny to see us do. We might pick your punishment, but we're going to brainstorm a couple right now. My first one that I wanted to recommend to the board is our buddy Scooby-Doo Ohio was in the Renegade Stadium down in Dallas and saw Bob Stoops running some stadium steps. And I thought, why shouldn't we have to go run some stadium steps for the loser? A full stadium, figure out where you can go. Not a high school stadium, like a
full
college
ass stadium, like all the steps.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not doing that. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna have a heart attack.
I
like it, Mason.
okay. Well, that's mine. That's mine. We don't have to discuss it, but that's mine. All right. Who else has one?
I'm gonna have to do those steps slowly.
Yeah, sticking on the Bob Stoops conversation, he did write a book and it came out recently. And so my punishment, which really wouldn't be a punishment, but I want to hear it, is someone reads the book and gives us a 1,000-word essay and reads it out loud on the pod, and we all get to know a little bit more about his book.
Okay.
Fun.
Patrick wants revenge for that essay that he had to write.
Yeah, I sure do.
He never showed it for anyone.
Yeah.
You guys didn't join the call.
He's still mad. He's still mad. Matt, do you got one?
I don't. I'll come up with something and post it.
That's fine. No worries. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so I think this is a pretty good one, actually. I think that the loser should have to give a 5-minute report on the strengths and weaknesses of the 2023 University of Southern California recruiting class.
Man, that's a good one.
Headlined by number, 60 something, Malachi Nelson?
Yeah.
Like he dropped like a
dropped real
lead
hard.
balloon. Oh,
How does that happen? How does someone go from like top 10 to 60?
No idea.
He must have just
Not
turned
impressed
everyone
people.
off
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
like the last couple camps or whatever that they went to. Whatever
Mhm.
Jackson Arnold won, he must have lost big time.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my proposed punishment.
Cool. Ryan, do you have one?
I have one, but I kind of want to save it for something that's like I don't know. I guess I can just tell
Then
you.
have
guys.
another one. Then
No, I
come
think
up
what
with
we should
another
do.
one.
I think what we should do at some point. It doesn't have to be this punishment, but I think at one point, one of our punishments should be the loser has to dye their hair blonde.
No.
I think that
Ooh.
would be hilarious.
Nope.
I think it's funny.
For the listener, Ryan works from home full
Guys,
time and
Mason
does
is
not
always-
ever see anyone that would care about this. Ain't no way I'm doing that.
I have the most to lose, and I think it's funny.
Mason is down to do any punishment, like always. He's like, yeah, please.
Yeah.
So, not saying we do it this time. Maybe
Okay.
we find a better time. Whether it's
I mean,
over
if-
the summer, maybe over.
if
the
we have
summer
people in the
start
comments-
pushing it a little bit.
If we have people in the comments who are overwhelmingly like, yeah, dye hair. That's what you have to do. I mean, this is the people's podcast, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
We,
I'll
we-
carry my 4-2 record and hold it close
Yeah.
to my chest, man.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking let us know. Remember, let us know your punishment down below in the comments, what you would like to see. Let's talk about the NFL slate. Boys, what do you say? And make some picks against the spread. A reminder, we are making picks against the spread as it stands right now. So if this line moves, it doesn't matter. I'm going to read the spread, and that's how we're picking. Everybody clear? Sound good? Just so
Yeah.
we're to avoid any confusion later down the line. I don't want any confusion. All right, first up, Jaguars at the Chiefs. It's a Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 8.5 in Arrowhead Stadium. Make your picks. Patrick, what do you got?
I'm gonna take the Chiefs to cover.
Okay.
Great analysis,
Yeah.
Pat.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: Jacksonville didn't really score a lot of points their first half. I don't think they had a great comeback, sure, but to me, they're still that team that couldn't score in the first half. So the Chiefs are going to do everything right. I think they're going to be better prepared. They're at home. It's a hostile environment. They will cover. I think this is kind of a routine game for them to win.
Okay. Reminder, that game's on Saturday. Game's on Saturday, not on Sunday. I have the Chiefs to win, Jags to cover. So give me the Jags plus 8.5. That's where I'm at. I think Jacksonville's kind of a team of destiny right now. I think their destiny will run out in this round, but they'll still give the Chiefs a really close game and make it a lot closer than they think. I disagree with Patrick's assessment on the scoring. I think they have a lot of offensive weapons, and I think they can score with the best of them, and the Chiefs are the best of them. So I will be interested to see how Trevor Lawrence and that team does against the Chiefs. But I think the Chiefs win, Jags cover. Mark?
Yeah, I think KC covers. I think it took everything that Jacksonville had at home to come back against social media quarterback Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And
That was hot.
going into Arrowhead, and playing against Patrick Mahomes is a little bit of a different thing for a second-year quarterback, first time in the playoffs. Doug Peterson is a great coach for this kind of a situation, but I just think KC has too much going, and this isn't the year for them.
Matt?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence had 4 picks last week against the Chargers defense. Yeah, it was a historic comeback. I just don't see them doing that in Kansas City, in Arrowhead, that crowd. I think, like Patrick said, this would be a pretty routine game for Patrick Mahomes and company here. I'll take the Chiefs to win and the cover the 8.5.
Ryan?
Yeah, Mason, I think you're going to be on an island here because I'm also taking the Chiefs to cover. I think you give Chiefs enough time to prep like they have coming off this bye. Andy Reid, incredible offensive mind. Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. It's a lot of elements that I don't think Jacksonville is capable of, competing against. So, KC.
Okay, that's fine. Gives me an opportunity to catch up if I get this one right.
That's right.
Okay, next game, Giants at the Eagles. Eagles 7.5 point favorite. I will start with Ryan. Ryan, what do you got?
I'm going to take Giants to cover, Eagles to win. Well, I guess we're just doing cover. We're just doing
but
spread,
you can say who wins though. You're fine.
Well, Giants cover. We didn't really talk about last week's games and my, lovely Vikings team getting beat at home by the Giants. I think the Giants, Daniel Jones is the truth right now, or at least in that one game he was against our terrible defense. But I thought they looked really good. I thought they looked really good offensively. I don't think they're going to win this game. I think Philly's got, a lot of things going for it, and it's in Philadelphia coming off the bye. Everything that I said about KC. I just think that the Giants are a little bit more prepared than someone like Jacksonville coming in the KC. It's a divisional game. It's a rivalry. I see it being close. So give me New York.
Okay. I have the Eagles to cover. They had a 48-22 win against the Giants earlier in the year, and then they had a 6-point win against the Giants earlier in the year. I think their winning ways continue against them, especially coming off of that bye week in the first round. Give me the Eagles to win, Eagles to cover 7.5. Mark, what do you got?
If this was 7, I'd take Philly. If it's 7.5, I take the Giants. So that's how numbers work, baby. Go Giants.
Okay. Matt?
Yeah, you mentioned the 2 games previously. It's got to be tough playing a team 3 times in the same year. Divisional opponent, I think, don't really know the status of Jalen Hurts' shoulder, how healthy he's going to be. It is his throwing shoulder, so we are going to see what he's going to look like. He hasn't played a lick of football in like 3+ weeks. So I think this is actually going to be kind of a low-scoring game. I'm going to take the Giants to cover, but the Eagles will win.
He definitely played last
Perfect.
week. The last game of the season.
Week 18.
Yeah, I think the Eagles will cover.
Love it. I'm putting all
Great
these down for
analysis
our,
again, Pat. We love you.
I'm putting down.
I can go in, but I'm, you guys.
He
covered this.
can.
All you
He
need-
can.
all
He
you
just
need to
doesn't
say
want to.
is-
It's like Matt with the women's basketball thing. He knows. He just didn't
Yeah.
really feel like it
Exactly.
at that point. There's just so many thoughts running through his head. It's just hard
So
to.
many.
If you guys
thoughts.
told me the Giants would be in the playoffs this year, I'd be like, "You're crazy."
Giants are sneaky good.
Brian Daboll is a
Mhm.
good coach.
Yeah.
He seems to be great.
Brian,
Pat,
he's a-
can you name me a Giants receiver?
That's the thing.
No,
That's the thing.
I can't name one, but he's hurt. So,
Yeah.
pretty wild. All right, on to the Sunday games. Bengals at Bills. Buffalo is a 5.5 point favorite at home. Give me the Bengals. Give me the Bengals to win outright. I think Buffalo is fraudulent. I think they are. I saw them play the Dolphins last week with a third string quarterback and a banged up Tyreek Hill and a banged up Jalen Waddle and a banged up defense and all that stuff. And Josh Allen peed down his leg. They were down in the fourth quarter and had to come back and win that game at home against an undermanned Miami Dolphins team. I don't buy into this Buffalo hype. I just don't. I've seen them 3 times play the Dolphins this year, and 3 times I wasn't really impressed with the team that Buffalo is. Josh Allen can make mistakes, and I think the Bengals defense can force Josh Allen to make those mistakes and keep them in the game. Give me the Bengals outright.
The difference to me, I think, is that the Dolphins did have Teron Armstead playing left tackle for them that game, and the Bengals will be down 3 starters on the offensive line. The Bills have a rock star front 7 led by Houston defensive tackle Ed Oliver, rocked us in that 2018 game.
Yeah, he did.
For that reason, give me the Bills to cover 5.5. I think Joe Burrow is, as unflappable as it comes, but he bleeds like the rest of them, So Bills to cover.
Matt?
Yeah, last week we did who's going to be in the Super Bowl and all this. I chose the Bengals, so I have to go with the Bengals to win out.
Love it.
So I'm going to have to keep with my pick here. And I think Joe Burrow is the dude, just like he showed last year. I think their defense is good enough to hold Josh Allen. He does have 9+ turnovers in the red zone this year, so he is turnover prone when they do get into the gold zone, as one would say. So I think Cincinnati's going to take advantage of this. And again, I picked them to win go to the Super Bowl, so I got to continue to ride them.
I picked the Bills to go to the Super Bowl last week, and I think the Bengals are probably going to win this game.
Wow.
So, unlike Matt, I'm totally
Patrick.
fine switching my opinions and admitting I'm wrong when I am. So yeah, I got the Bengals. I don't know if the Bengals win, but they definitely cover.
Okay.
I think y'all are forgetting the Bengals team that struggled mightily at home against the Ravens last week.
I know what Joe Mixon can be.
Rivalry
Okay,
game.
look, I love the Bengals talk. I think it's great. I am going with Buffalo. I'm going with Buffalo here. Because I think there's a couple reasons. Mark outlined the injuries and stuff that I think are extremely important. I also think that this is going to be a very emotional game because of, what happened when these 2 previous teams met.
I agree.
In Cincinnati. But we're in Buffalo this time. And I truly think that the Bills are going to come out with a victory. And I think it's probably going to be by at least a touchdown. So I also think that there's just something in the atmosphere that's telling me that Buffalo and KC are going to meet in Atlanta for the AFC Championship. And I just think that's going to happen. So I'm going to take Buffalo, and I'm going to have Buffalo to cover.
I think we actually just call it the SEC Championship anytime it's in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Not AFC.
I think that's true. All right, last game that we're going to, the Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco, a 4-point favorite at home. Pat, we'll start with you.
49ers, easy.
Niners for Patrick.
Do you know, before this year, the Texans and the Cowboys, the last 10 years, have pretty equal statistics in playoffs and records? No one ever talks about that enough. The Cowboys suck. They're so bad.
They're not that bad.
No, they suck.
No, I think they
49ers,
suck. I think Patrick's right.
They're pretty talented.
The Buccaneers suck more.
Yeah,
CeeDee Lamb doesn't suck.
Pat, I'm right. Pat, I'm riding with you. Give me San Francisco to win. Give me San Francisco to cover.
I'll go. So we talked about, I think, was it Mark who came up with the idea of pick a team that you're rooting for on the bandwagon to go into the Super Bowl? Mine is San Francisco.
It was
I think this team. I think this team is really, really special. I think they've won 10 games in a row for a reason. Their defense is firing on all cylinders. Brock Purdy somehow is playing lights out in this Shanahan offense. So give me San Francisco. I have them to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, check out my sick Kyle Shanahan analysis last week if you didn't catch the episode. I also think that San Francisco covers this game, but not really for the reasons that y'all have outlined. I think Micah Parsons is an absolute game breaker, and that is a much bigger problem than we're really talking about right now. The thing that makes me think they win the game is it's Kyle Shanahan coaching against Dan Quinn, and
That's really
Just
really
about
close,
every
close to
time.
home for you.
Just about every time those two have been together or faced off, the offense is better than the defense. So, yeah, give me the Niners.
Matt, round it out.
Yeah, just like I picked the Bengals on the AFC side, I did pick the Niners on the NFC side, so I got to continue to ride. I think the defense will overcome Dak. He's been very turnover prone this year, 15 plus interceptions, and a lot of them coming towards the end of the year. He did look really good against the Buccaneers, but I think Patrick said it. Buccaneers kind of been falling off the wagon. I'll take San Fran, and I can't believe I'm saying this, rookie Brock Purdy to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Incredible stuff, but gotta go Niners.
Crazy. Let us know down below in the comments who you have in the NFL playoffs divisional round. Some other NFL news that we wanted to get to. Oh, thanks for whoever put that in the outline. I'm an idiot. I was writing it down. Other
Every
NFL
time.
other NFL news that we wanted to get to. Is Tom Brady done?
No.
Short answer, no.
I don't
Dog,
think
he's
so.
going to be playing
He
for your
doesn't-
team.
He doesn't got a wife to go back to.
You're going to be rocking a teal 12 jersey.
Oh, hell no, I'm not. No shot.
Oh, that would be funny.
No shot.
shot.
Not
Oh,
after-
He
he
no
cost
shot.
he
Say
cost
no
them
Could go to
shot.
Miami.
No
Could go to
shot.
Miami.
No shot.
no shot. He cost them a first round draft pick this year. Like they can't go back to him and be like, okay, well, you come back. We'll take you. No.
Owner's a Michigan guy. There will
you
be more
sure?
first round draft picks.
Yes, I'm positive. I will put whatever I need to down and tell you Tom Brady will not be playing for the Miami Dolphins next year. He will not be.
I think he's going to the Jets.
That's a
That'd be-
possibility.
I'd be interested to see him go to Las Vegas and play with McDaniels. That'd be
Does-
kind of interesting.
Does he like
Yeah.
the Arctic cold?
I don't know. I don't know how he feels about the
Questions?
cold. I don't know how he feels
Minnesota?
about the cold.
Oh,
Everyone's staring
oh.
at me, just like
I mean, if Justin
Y'all playing
Jefferson's
the-
in the
y'all
Arctic,
Yeah, y'all playing a
maybe.
dome.
we're playing a
Dome.
dome. All I'm
It's not even
saying,
cold.
look, it's cold in Minnesota.
I mean, if Justin Jefferson wants to stick around for it.
Well, we're gonna pay him whatever he wants. He's gonna be the highest paid wide receiver pretty soon.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, we have this 49-year-old coming in. You're
Yeah.
going to love this guy.
Exactly.
It's like
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Is he really 49?
I don't know. He's like
Yeah.
No,
47.
he's 40 something for sure.
Old as shit. I mean, that's it. This is a 1 or 2 year rental. The Vegas thing is really
Rental.
interesting to me.
Good point.
I've heard that his kids are on the East Coast and he can't go too far because Giselle's not going to like fight to get him out to Vegas. And for that reason, I'm inclined to say more close to the East Coast. I think the Saints rumor is gone. I think that's dead. Leads me to believe maybe Pat's right with the Jets. They need something at quarterback, a Band-Aid, or man, if something happens to Tua. If neurologists say, hey, it's been one too many.
General
gotta
Manager
figure
Chris
something out.
Greer came out yesterday and said the Dodgers have reassured them, both Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer, ownership, and Tua Tagovailoa, that he is not more susceptible or prone to concussions than any other player in the NFL. He wore the third highest rated helmet that the NFL provides. And
They gave him the third. Why didn't they give him the first?
second, it was like second or third. Well, I mean, they get to choose their own.
Yeah.
It's whatever's
Players
comfortable.
choose
I didn't
their
know that.
helmets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
Well, you
feel
maybe
they
should
feel
give him the
more
first, though.
they feel better about Tua's concussions because they are ground induced as opposed to like collision induced. So
He might not be more susceptible, but if he gets like a third one, ain't that
It
going to
could
be
be a fourth one.
problematic?
look, I mean, I love
It's his life, right?
Maybe
I
it's
love
just
the-
saying what they're
I
saying.
love the super fun like narrative that everybody cares about Tua and his concussions, but a Bills player literally falls to the ground during a game in the playoffs and
Yeah.
can't stand upright, and we let him play the whole game and no one bats an eye. It's kind of just what it is. It's a fun little thing to poke holes in the Tua argument because people want to claim that they care about players and player safety, but something happens like that and they have the cameras on the offensive lineman. He's there. You see him on the television and he plays the rest of the game.
Are we on false equivalence island right now? What is going on here? That's
No.
wrong too. That's obviously bad too.
Yeah.
That guy is a lineman.
No one has said
no
it's
one
bad.
knows.
No one's talked
That's
about
a
it.
lineman no one knows, and it's happened like 3 times in a season to Tua.
Twice.
That's like if something happened to Tom Cruise versus if it happened to an extra in a Tom Cruise movie. Like, we're gonna talk about the big guy.
I just disagree. I think people look for that, and they want to claim that they're worried about Tua's safety and player safety, and they're really not. They want to claim to be on the right side of history.
You mean like the 4 of us don't care about player safety when we say, hey, maybe Tua shouldn't?
No, I'm saying a lot of people do. Stephen A. Smith is on First Take every single day talking about how Tua needs to quit playing and other players.
That's always premature to me. Yeah. He needs to retire thing. It's like,
yes.
How do you know? You're just a sports talk guy.
Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
You know. But
Guys,
And more than just him, but-
concussions are bad. They're bad.
concussions are bad.
They suck.
I completely agree.
They're
The
part of
Program
the
Guys
sport.
podcast is an officially anti-concussion podcast. So
Anti.
yeah,
Very
we are not pro.
I agree with that.
Might be.
All right, let's go to some must watch of the week. Ryan is back with the program's favorite segment, besides Circle the Wagons.
It
guess.
might be no one's favorite segment except,
that's not
me,
true.
but hey,
That's
here
not true.
I am.
Yeah, give us something to watch.
All right. Well, I'm back. 2023, baby. Here we go. Off season, must watch. I'm gonna go with a very accessible movie for the first time. You know, I'm probably gonna drop in a foreign film pretty soon where no one can find it. You know, and you have to scour the internet looking for it. But I am gonna talk about Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, which you can find on Netflix. This is the sequel to Knives Out. It is directed by Rian Johnson, who you might know from the first Knives Out. You also might know from a small movie called Star Wars: The Last Jedi. A lot of people despise that movie.
This
I
guy.
love that movie, so it's my favorite Star Wars movie.
Really?
Anyway, we can talk about that.
Okay,
at a different
no,
time. I don't want to get started.
Don't
on
get
that.
him on that trail.
I won't.
He does
Yeah.
want to get
Don't-
started.
yeah,
don't let him.
Yeah,
You
go
know,
ahead.
just push me a little farther and then I'll go for it, you know. Rian Johnson also directed a really incredible movie called Looper, which I highly recommend people check out if they haven't. Okay, there's Daniel Craig, Norton, Janelle, Dave Bautista, and Han, a couple other guys that are all-star cast. Like, incredible.
Is Ryan's mic messing
cast.
up? For
Ryan-
Yeah, it's
Ryan-
messing up for
Okay.
me too.
Okay.
Yeah. Ryan, start
Okay.
over.
Am I better?
Yeah, I don't know.
No,
what
you're still
No,
breaking up a
you're
little bit.
not bad.
Still breaking up a little bit. It's
Well,
okay.
you might have to skip me, guys. You might just
No,
have
No,
to,
now it's
seems to be
better.
you
working.
might just have, is
No,
it better?
it's better. Yeah, it's
Okay.
better. Go ahead.
Okay.
Just don't move. I'm kidding.
I'm not gonna move. Okay, where did I stop? Starring. Is that where I started sputtering?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this movie stars Daniel Craig in the main role, Edward Norton, Kate Hudson, Janelle Monáe, Dave Bautista, Catherine Hahn, as well as several others and some surprising cameos. Really, really great cast. Just a stellar cast. This is the sequel to the Knives Out. So when we talk about plot, it's a separate. If you haven't seen Knives Out, please go watch Knives Out. It's incredible. But it's a murder mystery, right? And each of these are going to be, it's basically like an anthology movie, if you think about it that way. They're going to be different chapters, essentially, of like an individual murder mystery that is solved or taken on by Daniel Craig's character. And so this one in particular is about a tech billionaire, Miles Braun, who's played by Edward Norton, who invites his friends to a getaway.
Miles Braun.
Yeah, invites his friends to a getaway on a private Greek island. And then, like, someone turns up dead on the island. And Daniel Craig's character, Benoit Blanc, which is just an incredible name considering he's playing a very Southern American with like a French name, is basically put on the case. This movie, I'll get to some of the high points because I have a lot of high points for this movie. But I think a barrier to entry is, you know, it is a sequel, so I think there could be a barrier to entry if you like have never seen the first one. Again, I recommend seeing the first one so you understand the character that Daniel Craig is playing. But you don't really have to be because it's not required. It's a separate, anthology and a separate story. And then the cultural and political satire of this movie is very heavy and very on the nose. And I think some people might not like that. They might think it's just too much for them to handle, or they just don't want to deal with that. They don't want any of that in their movie watching experience. They just want to escape from reality. This is a very, very satiric film. And I love it for that reason. So that is like one of my high points, is the incredibly sharp writing that Rian Johnson has on this movie. The storytelling is very, very great. And there's a really great twist in this movie that like I didn't see coming. That's not really a spoiler. They've been talking about that. And I didn't see that coming at all. And I think that just shows how good the writing is, and how it's able to set up the story really well. And then I think my biggest thing is I've never seen like Daniel Craig happier than when he's playing this role. He just came off James Bond, and he talked about in a lot of like papers and like interviews and stuff like that, how intense that character was to play. And just coming off that into this role, he's just having a great time using an incredibly Southern American accent, for a British guy. And it's just so much fun to watch. It's just a really, really fun movie to watch. You can put it on. It's not, super serious. It's just kind of over the top, and it's purposely over the top. And man, the timing of this coming out with everything that's happening with Elon Musk is just like chef's kiss. And Rian Johnson said that was not on purpose, but that is just what has happened. So would highly recommend Glass Onion. Please go check it out. It's on Netflix if you haven't already. I know a lot of people have watched it. So, and I think most of you on this pod have probably seen it. No, Mark is shaking his head no. So please go watch it. It's good.
Edward Norton's character, big time Elon Musk vibes. So it's funny to see that play out. It's fun. That goes to Ryan's on the nose point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, very good. Thank you, Ryan. Welcome back to
thank you
the must watch segment.
We'll get weirder as we go on. So
of course we will. I wouldn't expect anything less. Okay. Let's move on to our MVPs, PGP MVPs of the week. Mark, go ahead. Start with you, brother.
What did I put down here? I put
Jay Nunez.
Jay Nunez.
Yeah, Jay Nunez. So I'm gonna have an MVP, and it's him. He got a raise and a title change. He went from 100K a year to 250K a year. That's a nice little bump. Couple of fake field goals will do that for you. How cool. Also, I do have a least valuable for the week, and it's Baylor. No, not Baylor. TCU.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
You were just waiting for my reaction.
No. I said it. Well, I'm thinking Bryles, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
TCU is preparing to bring on Kendall Bryles as their offensive coordinator. And man, if you got to prepare for backlash for your hire, maybe you hire someone else. Just like an idea. Anyway, LVP, the TCU Horned Frogs. MVP, my guy, Jay Nunez.
Yeah. TCU is going to be an interesting case. I think they're kind of a one-off thing. I don't think they're a program that's built for long-term success. I feel like they had a lot of success in the transfer portal, and now
whole
what?
Offense is leaving.
Yeah.
Whole offense is leaving.
And like now what? Matt, who you got?
The Oklahoma City Thunder. Everyone thought this team was dead. I'm taking a thing from Mason. Everyone thought this team was dead. They were projected to only win 20 games this year. Mark, I want to let you know they've already won 20. They're in the 10th spot right now, playing for a potential playoff spot. Everyone thought this team was dead. No longer the case. We even lost their number 2 pick, Chet Holmgren, to a season injury. Even before the season, Jalen Williams, the other rookie, is played phenomenal. Shea, Lou, all those guys. Oklahoma City Thunder. We back. We don't need Victor. Congrats to you, Mark, if you get him. Oklahoma City Thunder. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get it. We ain't dead, baby. We ain't dead.
Vegas had him at 35.5, not 20. Child.
20.
He's like,
that might be the update. That might be the update. That wasn't preseason. There's no way preseason they were 35. It was 20 preseason.
I don't know.
10's pretty bad. 10's pretty bad. How many people get to go to the playoffs?
I do think he's right. Yeah.
All right, Pat, what do you got?
Good stuff, man.
I have loser MVP as well. I'm trying to plan out my year, but the Big 12 cannot put together a schedule for football season, and they need to figure that out.
Yeah,
I'm surprised we didn't. I'm surprised we didn't talk about this more because this is like a.
Maybe that's
keep
why
wishy-washy. They're like delaying it so many.
It's annoying. Like
Yeah.
You have all these teams and you're riding this wave of like media momentum, and you're the last one to put out a schedule. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know who's in their PR office, but they're smoking meth.
Yeah.
Just like put the schedule out. I don't.
And if
understand.
you didn't know how to schedule this amount of teams, why did you allow 4 more teams then to the Big 12?
No
They
idea.
planned on having another season where you can make
Right,
everyone
with OU,
whole
Texas.
with a home and an away with Oklahoma and with Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Now every team only gets either a home or an away with Texas, and those are the teams that bring in money. That's where the scheduling is so difficult. But also, like, suck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that thing out. Like, you've had one job since you knew this many teams would be here.
Exactly. Stupid.
It's not that hard.
No, it's not. It's not that hard.
And we don't know when it's coming.
Hey, we could do it for them.
Yeah, the
Like-
guys are trying to plan our trips, man.
Yeah.
Trying
That's the punishment. You have to come up with a better Big 12 schedule.
yeah, that'd be good. That'd be pretty good.
Be good
Spend a
idea.
lot of time in front of a spreadsheet. That'd be miserable. Okay, my MVP of the week is Giselle. Shout out to Giselle, who had Tom Brady pick football over a literal supermodel, which led him to a 9-8 record in the regular season. Was that it? Was he 9-8?
8-9.
8-9. Sorry, Tommy. And then lose to the Dallas Cowboys at home, and you're dead. You're deader than dead. And Giselle is out there looking hot still, hanging out with her 29-year-old or 26-year-old yoga instructor, whatever it is. Giselle, my MVP of the week.
Bro, I think so I'm reading now because I Googled it.
Yeah.
It's like a jiu-jitsu instructor. And
Good for her.
What if he's been her kid's jiu-jitsu teacher for years?
Good for her. Good for her.
Man.
No, man, that's that makes it cross the line,
No.
dog.
Well, they cross
Bro,
lines with their kids a lot.
was-
Tom Brady does too.
That's true. That's a great point.
Like,
That's a great point.
it's-
But
Good point.
I don't know. Maybe Brady was getting around. We don't know.
We don't know. All right, Ryan, round us
yeah,
up.
yeah. So, I am going to give my MVP to the San Antonio Spurs this week, which is shocking. I know. They are my NBA team, and they are very bad this year, but like not bad enough, which is very upsetting. But anyway, we can talk about that at a later date. I want to give them credit for shattering the NBA single game attendance record this past week against the Warriors.
That was cool.
They went back to the Alamo Dome where they had been. I think they were there from 1993 to 2002, and they filled up the entire stadium. And they ended up having, what was the attendance? I think it was 86,322 fans, which if you look at single record, that's number one. And then the next one behind that is Chicago at Atlanta in the Georgia Dome, 62,046 in March of 1998. So
86,
68, sorry.
68. Okay.
68.
I'm like,
Yeah.
that's OU
Apologies.
Stadium.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, 68. So sorry. 68,323. The Spurs got destroyed in that game, but that's besides the
Sad.
point, right? It's they filled it up. It was really awesome to see. Fun fact, when they did play in the Alamo Dome from 93 to 2002, they only filled, so the Alamo Dome is a football stadium, so they only filled up half of the football stadium, and then they had a black curtain behind the court, and that's what they did for 9 years, which is
Crazy.
incredible. Before they had the
Pretty
AT&T
wild.
Center,
Crazy.
which is a very San Antonio thing to do, I think. So yeah, San Antonio Spurs, congrats on breaking the record for
Love that.
the single game attendance.
Awesome. Let us know down below in the comments your PGP MVP of the week. And with that, folks, episode 54 is going to be in the books. Be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, trying to hit 1,500 subs by the end of the week. You can help us out a lot. It costs you $0 to subscribe to the channel. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with a Z, Instagram Program Guys with a Z, our Facebook page Program Guys Podcast. However you get your podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of that good stuff. We will see you guys next week for episode number 55, but episode 54 is done. Pat, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.